Hello everyone, today I want to discuss with you my top 10 simulator game list. Alrighty, let's start with number 10, Flight Simulator. Although the latest installment of this game was introduced almost 10 years ago now, it still remains quite popular among players due to containing a dazzling, almost overwhelming array of features, aircraft and general bells and whistles, including 51 missions, 45 highly detailed airports with jetways and airport vehicles, 38 highly detailed cities. The latest add-ons and mods make this game look super realistic with astonishing amount of details, totally worth checking out. Ever dreamed about simulating a goat life? No? Well then guess what, there is such game. If Goat Simulator really was a goat simulator, you would spend the whole game pedaling around a field, eating grass and occasionally being milked before ending up on a plate in some upmarket restaurant. But that would make it for a rubbish game. Instead, you crash around a physics-enabled world, knocking things over, headbutting people, dragging stuff around with your tongue, and generally being a pain in arse for points. Think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but with a goat. You can headbutt things or kick them with your legs, or you can lick things with your tongue, which actually acts just like tether cable. And you can jump and spin around in the air. That's pretty much it, and by combining these actions you score points and rack up combos. Being a top-selling game on Steam at one point, this game deserves your attention only if you are in 25 to 30 minute love and you do not mind spending $10 on it. So, if you're into simulating goat life, then this is the only simulator on the market you can get so far. Trying to perform an open heart surgery in open space sounds fun, isn't it? Understand that Surgery Simulator 2013 is more about a slapstick comedy resulting from intentionally bad controls than it is about real medicine, and you'll be in for a treat. The 3 surgeries don't provide much variety, but the sense of reward that comes upon completing each, or the moments you and your friends can laugh at when you screw up, make it worth it while it lasts. It's a darkly entertaining way to cut, explore and appreciate the incredible skill of real surgeons. If you can imagine a drunken puppeteer attempting an organ transplant, you have an idea of what these operations might look like. Surgery Simulator 2013 gives you some confusing and intuitive marionette-like controls and shoves you right in an operating room with so much as basic lesson in anatomy. With its latest expansion, Surgery Simulator has more content to offer, so keep that in mind. Arma III, a deep combat simulator. I knew what to expect going into Arma 3 from previous experience with Bohemia Interactive Games, yet I was still overwhelmed by the amount of features I had to wrap my head around before I could play it with even moderate proficiency. It's a first-person shooter, alright, but it's not another left trigger to aim down the sights, right trigger to shoot kind of game. You are going to have used almost every key on your keyboard, memorize specific key combinations and what each does depending on whether you are on foot, in a tank, a helicopter, etc. As you can imagine, Arma 3 is potentially much more enjoyable when you're playing online with real people, especially those who already know how to play and can teach us its secrets. It doesn't have a capped player limit, so in theory, a server where 100 players are facing another 100 players in a gigantic sandbox where almost everything is possible is one of the best shooters I've ever played. Arma 3's complexity is a double-edged sword, to be honest. It takes a long time to comprehend, but once you're comfortable enough with its mechanics to take advantage of them under pressure, you are able to engage in a kind of large-scale tactical combat that's simply not offered elsewhere. Car Mechanic Simulator has a neat premise that I haven't seen explored before. Many people like to tinker with machinery, be it computers, cars or rockets, and this game makes tinkering with cars accessible to the average person, without requiring them to dirty their hands or get a degree. After a brief tutorial, you just start accepting repair orders one car at a time. Each time you are given a paper explaining what the client wants you to do to the car. You inspect the condition of parts, you click to unscrew the bolts of the parts you need to remove, you order new parts from the computer, repair the existing ones, and then you put them back in the car. Done. So do not expect to be replacing some small overstressed screw somewhere or repairing a crack in the windshield. This game doesn't go that deep. But if you know almost nothing about cars, this game does teach a thing or two about the components, so there is some educational value to it definitely. There are a few other features. There is a basic skill leveling system that allows you to detect broken parts faster or buy parts cheaper. You can also supposedly expand your garage and get a bank loan if you get low on cash. Construction Simulator 2015 is an ambitious title that for the most part delivers a polished and enjoyable experience, yet unfortunately suffers in some gameplay aspects. The list of game features are impressive, which include over 200 missions, 15 construction machines, multiplayer mode, open world, and a non-linear dynamic mission system. While I've played a wide variety of simulation games, I was pleasantly surprised with the various gameplay elements, from construction structures to exploring the large game world. The game's best content is locked behind menial progression that takes about 3 to 4 hours before useful equipment and more interesting construction contracts are made available. While the player can assign non-playable characters to complete job objectives, they don't provide any experience for completion. The real way forward in-game requires the player to complete a variety of not very interesting jobs before the game expands with a larger city. So if you have the patience and endurance to stick through the introductory hours of mental jobs and construction equipment, then I can easily recommend Construction Simulator 2015 for a purchase. However, players looking for an accessible gameplay experience that provides instant satisfaction should look elsewhere for their next simulation game purchase. Train Simulator may have over $1,000 worth of DLC available on Steam alone, but it's the only game I know of that provides the latest annual version available as a free update. Last year in particular, the update was a significant upgrade over the existing engine. Of course, the option is still there for existing users to buy the latest version of the game, and they will need to do so in order to get all of the latest routes and trains that come with TS 2015. The new trains that are part of Train Simulator 2015 are, as said above, a decent mix of modern locomotives. The models for them, and particularly the internal views, are really well done. In terms of the core game engine, TS15 doesn't provide as much of an update as TS14 did last year. However, the addition of the TS Academy and its host of tutorials make it easier for new drivers to get into the game, as well as providing advanced scenarios for the experienced driver. The new routes provide a wide range of challenges, and the new train, particularly the ICET, will please many train fans. Load times are long, so if you have a SSD, install it on there. So heading straight into top 3. Have you ever dreamed of driving an old truck through a rugged Russian wilderness? Then dream no more, because Spintires is here. But the real star of the game is the mud. It is without a doubt the best virtual sludge in games. The way your tires dig into it and the way it deforms realistically as you move through it is really impressive. The heavier your vehicle is, the more it sinks into it, and the more likely you are to get stuck. Clumps gather on your wheels as you drive, and some areas are so caked in the stuff that you will be forced to find another route. It's a game of feet, not miles, of dragging your bouncy flatbed through just one more exhausting mire of mud and rocks to reach the safety of a garage or refueling station. You can choose between casual and hardcore mode, although casual will be hard enough for most people. Fuel consumption is increased in hardcore, and routes you chart on the map won't be displayed as a guide on the road as you drive. Still, endurance is what Spintires is all about, and there is a lot of satisfaction to be had in besting the brutal Russian terrain in your hardly little Soviet truck, but not after a lot of rolling over, getting inescapably lodged in soggy riverbeds, and running out of fuel in the middle of nowhere. I love that games like this exist. It is not a surprise that Euro Truck Simulator made the top 2 of my list. Euro Truck Simulator 2 is all about living the dream that is professional trucking. The game even tells you as you begin that this is your dream job. and who you are to argue. Armed with little more than enthusiasm, players begin their adventure humbly, with a little garage in the home city of their choice and a company with no trucks to its name. The deeper you go, the more there is to do. Want to expand quickly? You can take out loans that need to be repaid. Want specialized drivers? They each level up the same way you do, and you can dictate the way they do. Of course, you also have to be mindful of expenses. There are a lot of ducks to get in a row, but the interface is user-friendly and information is consistently provided, so nothing ever feels insurmountable. That said, driving trucks in as realistic a fashion as possible is the bread and butter of any trucking sim, and Euro Truck will have fans covered. Offering a huge map spanning the length and breadth of Europe, there is plenty of time to be spent on the open road and lots of distance to cover. Although not the most visually advanced game, Euro Truck's believable representation of Europe's roads and cities are nonetheless impressive. From the shape of the traffic lights to the atmosphere of the backdrops, there is a sense of individuality to each new territory you uncover. Old trucks can be repainted and upgraded with all manner of parts, and as the player levels up, the potential for personalization expands. I won't even start talking about mods that are available for this game. It creates an absolutely different experience with infinite possibilities. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and check this game out. Number 1 and only is Farming Simulator 2015. This game is an absolute must-buy for anyone. Farming Simulator 15 from developer Giant Software follows the previous series released 2 years ago with various improvements ranging from a redesigned user interface to reworked physics. My primary complaints in Farming Simulator 2013 focused on a lack of guidance and graphics and physics that lacked realism. This year's release fortunately solved some of the series' previous problems, but oddly ignored some issues that should have been addressed. Ultimately, farming and simulator enthusiasts will be happy to know that Farming Simulator 15 is an overall massive improvement over past series releases. The most noticeable improvement when first starting the game is the new graphics and physics engine, which for the most part solve the realism issues found in past games. Other major improvements in this year's release include a redesigned user interface that presents a far more modern approach to displaying various menus and indicators such as vehicle speed and which vehicle tool is currently selected. With one keyboard click, players can access the complete shop menu in which to purchase vehicles and equipment from clear and separate categories. The developers have also introduced the gameplay element of woodcutting that enables players to utilize both chainsaws and woodcutting vehicles to gain money from chopping trees and then transporting the logs to sellers. With the woodcutting being a new gameplay element, there are unfortunately some issues in the process of actually cutting and moving the wood. The gameplay is on the open-ended nature in that players first select from either the United States or Nordic-inspired worlds. That being said, I can say that Farming Simulator 2015 is my number 1 pick from all simulator games available today. So these are my top 10 simulation games. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite simulation games are. Also let me know if you agree with my list or disagree. And as usual guys, live like there is no tomorrow. Bye bye.